you know who you are? I don't think I don't think we know who we are. Sometimes we don't take the time to discover who we are. And some people actually try to do that by going to their roots, but that's only part of the story. Your roots tell you where you came from, but knowing who you are tells you where you're going. You might have some insights from the past, at least it gives you a bit of a trajectory so you can make informed decision from the perspective of the context that you have. But do you know where you're going? Do you know what how you fit into history and to the story you're telling? So we're not aimless wanderers in a system designed by a few. So we become the masters of our own story, and we can pass that to the next generation. I think there's something dangerous about not knowing your story and not being a master of your story. If someone else is writing your story, that's a little dangerous, that's a little scary. And in a way, isn't that what's being dictated for us a lot of times, especially in the West? Especially in the West, it's like there's a definite path that's set for a lot of people. And in the guise of becoming successful, in the guise of the American dream, everyone follows these predefined paths. And only a few can actually escape and begin to have some role that they defined, that they discovered. And so I think a challenge for me is, how do I discover my own path? How do I discover my own place in society? And how do I use that to benefit people? At the end of the day, everything we're doing, it better be to help other people. It better be to help our families, our communities. That should be the goal. It should never be selfish or just accumulate wealth and that's it. But the real question is, what's the impact? And I've said this so many times, but it's so important now for me. I feel like sometimes the word impact makes it seem a bit overwhelming. When you think about impact, you're thinking about a huge crater. But I will ask you, what are you doing today that could begin to have the kind of impact you wish? Because honestly, life is pretty short. And tomorrow is not guaranteed. And so we need to leave the kind of legacy that is worth other people mentioning, like that is worth not living a life that we will consider wasted. And I think, unfortunately, for the way a lot of us are living, which is on survival mode, that might be truer for a lot of us than we think. The reality is, because of things like the golden handcuffs, which I learned about last year, many of us are in this situation, and where we're chasing something, and we keep pushing our dreams for tomorrow. We keep trying to wait until another day, but the ability to implement should be happening right now when you're young. And we're giving some amount, some value, and we're told, here are the skills that you need, and we give up some of our best years to these kinds of work. And we ask ourselves, if it weren't for the money, would I be doing this? Sure, you're enjoying a very good, comfortable life, but you're giving up a huge portion of your life. Maybe sometimes if you're unfortunate, to something that you're not even passionate about, not excited about. And then you got to ask yourself, on your deathbed, is this something you'll be excited about and said, you know what, that was a life well lived? And if it's not, then we need to chase that, and we need to be realistic. And that's difficult. That's better. That's easier said than done. I will be honest. But part of that is just that discovery. When you're kind of boxed into that path, You realize it's all part of a system, right? From education that says this is how you should learn, this is how you should do things, and you do well. And then here's the college, and here's the education that you need to get to the next level. The next level is already another box that you have to go into and stay for God knows how long, right? Always deferring your dreams. Which is why I keep refining this idea that the cost of our dreams might just be the 9 to 5. That time period where we ought to take a leap of faith and put it on ourselves. We have to use to kind of survive on the kind of lifestyle that we have. Got a little dark because of the sun, but that's something I'm thinking about. I'm not saying don't be grateful, right? I'm very grateful to be able to be in a place where I can support a new lifestyle. I can do some of the things that I've always wanted to. But there's something bigger, and I want to start chasing something bigger.